The TARDIS is marooned on board a 70th century pirate ship whose crew is being attacked by a mysterious and beautiful sea creature. Becalmed and beset by cabin fever, the pirates have numerous superstitious explanations for the siren's appearance. The 11th Doctor has other ideas, but as his theories are disproved and every plan of escape is thwarted, he must work to win the trust of the implacable Captain Henry Avery and uncover the truth behind the pirates' supernatural fears. And he must work quickly, for some of his friends have already fallen under the siren's spell. Welcome, friends and companions. How are you today? This is Enigmatic Joker, your friends. So, sci-fi and fantasy fans, and also the fans meet on this channel for fun chats about their beloved books, movies, series, and franchises. We also talk about food and drinks, music and sport, and a special place on this channel for Doctor Who, my most beloved sci-fi series. So, this channel has multiple names because this channel regenerates regularly or irregularly. It's how it depends. But most of the time, it's called Random Entertainment Channel. And it's random because we discuss everything that involves entertainment, including movies and series, books and music. We don't dive deep into things like religion or politics. Yes, we want to have fun and jokes and humor on this channel. And we want to make friends and network on this channel. So, random because we will broadcast on non-fixed times, actually in many different times. Also the case with the Doctor who travels through time and space in his TARDIS, in past, present, and future in the universe. So this world has different time zones. And to meet as much people as possible, I do live streams on different times. So you need to subscribe to this channel to know what time the broadcast is. Actually, yeah, I want to meet you. Actually, I want to meet you. So random, also because we have no guests or different guests. It depends what you show me in a live stream or panel. If you want to show me in a live stream, feel free to contact me via Discord server. You can contact me there, or you can put a comment on one of the YouTube videos of this channel. And we look what is possible. And also it's possible to invite me for your channel. I'm available for a live stream and panel on your channel. I also want to contribute to you. I want to make friends. And I want to talk about things we're interested in, which we are passionate for. So also available for that. The Discord server is called the Random Entertainment Channel Tech Doctor Who. And on Discord, and because I bump the server regularly, you find me very quick on this board. So cheers, mate, and have lots of fun. This is your host, Enigmatic Joker, Mysterious. 11th Doctor story today. Yes, Matt Smiths. And this story is called The Curse of the Black Spot. And as usual, we begin with general info and for this story. General info for this story. Okay. Okay. Let's start. So, The Curse of the Black Spot was the third episode of Series 6 of Doctor Who. It featured the long-forgotten character Henry Avery, mentioned in the first Doctor story, The Smugglers, and gave an explanation as to what happened to him and his crew. I already did. Actually, I did in the past or the present or in the future. I did a live stream about the smugglers. So if you go to the playlist with the first Doctor, you find that live stream about the smugglers. So this actually is a continuation of the smugglers. The eye patch lady also appeared again in the second of what would become a series of brief, foreboding check-ups on Amy Pond as she traveled with the Doctor. So this is some general info. We now dive immediately into the plot. And if you haven't watched and or listened to this story yet, I highly recommend it, meant you to do that. And otherwise, you can listen further to this I stream further. So, are ready? Fastening seatbelts. There we go with the plot. So, on a becalmed ship called the Fancy, a man with a minor cut is brought to the captain, Henry Avery. Avery declares that he's a dead man, after discovering a black spot on the man's palm. The man grabs a gun and flees outside as a woman can be heard singing on the deck. A few minutes later, he can be heard screaming as the song cuts to a stop. The crew departs the cabin to investigate, with Avery remarking that the disappearance is the same as all the others. As a banging is heard below deck, a wooden grille is pushed open to reveal the 11th Doctor, Amy, and Rory. The trio is brought to Avery's cabin, where the Doctor reveals that they picked up the ship's distress calls. The crew, however, insist that they made no such calls. When the Doctor compares the time travelers to sailors, they are held at gunpoint by Avery and accused of being stowaways. The captain, knowing there is too little water to sustain all of them until the wind picks up, orders the Doctor and Rory to walk the plank while commanding Amy to the scullery. She's shelved below deck, where she discovers trunks of pirate garb and weaponry. As the Doctor is prepared to jump into the water, Amy reappears, brandishing a sword, frightening the crew who do not wish to be injured. One crew member advances on her to get the sword away from her, but she puts up a fight, accidentally cutting his hand. He explains that she has killed him, prompting her to call him a baby for overreacting. So, a second fight ensues and Amy drops the sword, accidentally cutting Rory as well. Oh, 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 oh. Black spots appear on both of the men's palms, prompting Rory to ask the doctor what's happening. The woman's voice is heard yet again, charming Rory and the wounded pirates and turning them into babbling fools. A ghostly woman bubbles up from the becalmed water and slowly advances on the crew, extending her hands to Rory and the pirates. The pirate steps forward and is instantly vaporized upon touching her. Rory also approaches her, but Amy steps between them, threatening the woman, who turns an angry red hisses and throws Amy across the deck. The crew hurries below deck, followed by the time travelers. Every refers to the woman as a siren and says she has been taking every injured crew member, whether the wound is large or small. They all believe that the ship is cursed, which the doctor responds to with some derision. Avery does not believe that the TARDIS is truly the doctor's ship and levels his pistol at him, demanding that he make it, quote, sail. So the doctor, however, feels that they're merely fighting over who's in charge. Another crew member realizes that the leech has bitten him on the leg, and they all scramble to remove themselves from the still water as the black spot appears from the man's hand. All of a sudden, the siren appears and takes the man, allowing the doctor to deduce that she is using water as a portal. Therefore, they must make for the driest room on the ship, the armory. Arriving there, they discover Toby, a young boy who is revealed to be Avery's son. The boy stowed away on his father's ship, wants to meet the man his mother described as an honorable Navy captain before she died the previous year. However, he is very ill and soon reveals a black spot on the palm of his hand. Because he possesses no injuries, the doctor realizes that the siren is coming for the sick as well as the wounded. Avery and the doctor go to the TARDIS, when Avery quickly adapts to the machine's extraterrestrial equipment by comparing them to the functions of his own ship. Meanwhile, the boatswain and Milligan, the only remaining crew members, reveal their plan to leave the ship with Avery's treasure, thus informing Toby that his father is a pirate. Still loyal, Toby grabs a sword and cuts the boatswain's hand, standing him in the armory with the others. Mulligan, however, leaves anyway. Back in the TARDIS, the Doctor realizes that the TARDIS cannot leave because it can't sense the plane it's supposed to be flying on. Abruptly, it begins to dematerialize, with no clue as to its destination. The Doctor and Avery are forced to flee. On their way back to the armory, the Doctor and Avery run into Mulligan, who has stolen all of Avery's treasure and is preparing to leave the ship. The two give chase, but Mulligan manages to lock himself in a small cabin room, where he burns his hand upon lighting a match. The Doctor and Avery listen as he's taken by the siren. Entering the room, the Doctor and Avery realize that there is no water present. Thus, the siren doesn't only use water as a portal, but all reflective surfaces. Remembering that Avery gave Toby his medallion, he rushed back to the armory, where the Doctor blows air on the medallion to fog the surface. With no TARDIS, they realize they have no other option but to sit and wait for the seas to kick up again. As everyone sleeps, Amy sees the woman with the eye patch staring at her through a hatch in the side of the ship. However, the hatch disappears. She goes to Avery's cabin, where the Doctor stands staring out the window and is prepared to tell him of the woman when he interrupts her, questioning whether or not she feels as though she is being watched. Suddenly, a storm breaks and everyone heads to the deck to lift the sail. In the gales, a crown falls out of Avery's jacket, even though the Doctor had previously ordered Avery to rid the ship of all the treasure so that they might limit the siren's means of reaching them. The siren appears, taking Toby, but the Doctor is able to throw the crown overboard before she can go after Rory. Nevertheless, Rory is knocked overboard and begins to drown. Though Amy prepares to jump in after him, the Doctor explains that Rory will die unless they let the siren take him. He pulls the lid of a bucket of still water and orders the woman to go save him. The Doctor realizes that their only means of reuniting with their loved ones is to prick their fingers and let the siren take them as well. They do so, and the siren reappears, and they all touch her hand, instantly blacking out. They wake on the floor of an invisible alien spaceship, which the Doctor quickly deduces is taking up the same space as the Fancy, lending credence to his previous belief that they were all being watched. Every window on the spaceship is a portal that leads to the Fancy. Amy realizes that the distress signal they answered was coming from the spaceship, not the Fancy. As they explore, they discover the skeletons of the alien ship's original crew members, who wear uniforms bearing the letters they IHS, with the doctor ascertaining that they all died years ago from airborne disease from Earth. So eventually they discover the sick bay, where Avery's crew plus Rory, Toby, and the TARDIS are being kept, hooked up to life support machines. When Amy tries to unhook Rory, the siren appears and puts him back to sleep. The doctor realizes that the siren is not a demon, but a virtual doctor who has been caring for the injured crew. However, she has no means of treating them and can only put them on life support to save them. Amy again tries to help Rory, but the siren won't let her near him. It is not until Amy proclaims that it is her husband that the siren extends her hand, with a glowing yellow ring forming around it. The doctor orders Amy to take her hand, thus signing the contract and accepting all responsibility for Rory's further well-being. She does so, but they quickly realize that Rory cannot be taken off life support. In doing so, he will drown, as he would have done earlier when he fell overboard. Rory is sure that Amy can save him and instructs her on how to perform CPR. Meanwhile, the doctor reveals to Avery that Toby has a typhoid fever, and if he were to be removed from the ship, he would only have a few months left to live. Remembering that the alien spaceship needs a captain, Avery volunteers for the position so that he may continue to look after his home. Bidding Avery goodbye, the Doctor and Amy bring a choking Rory back to the TARDIS, where Amy begins to perform CPR. Though it appears futile at first, Rory eventually recovers and lovingly embraces his wife. The alien spaceship soars off into space with Avery in the captain's seat and Toby and his crew at his side headed for the Dog Star. In the TARDIS, Amy and Rory say goodnight to the Doctor, who responds by referring to Amy as Amelia. Amy notes that he only does this when he's worried about her. The Doctor retorts that he always worries about her, leading Amy to remember his impending death and admit that the feeling is mutual. As they depart the console room, Rory reminds her that she cannot tell the Doctor about what happens at Lake Silencio in the future. The Doctor scans Amy for pregnancy again, with the readings still flickering between positive and negative. And this, my friends and companions, is the end of the story, The Curse of the Black Spot. And a very welcome to the Shadow Striker here at last to listen to this story. I will name some cast members. The Doctor is played by Matt Smith. Amy Pond is played by Karen Gillan. Rory is played by Arthur Darvill. Henry Avery is played by Hugh Bonneville. Toby Avery is played by Oscar Lloyd. The boatswain is played by Lee Ross. Mulligan is played by Michael Beckley. De Flores is played by Tony Lucken. The dancer is played by Chris Jarman. McGrath is played by Carl McChrystal. And the siren is played by Lily Cole. Some world building. In fashion and clothing, the siren is wearing an evening dress. Some world building in history, Henry Avery robbed the Mughal of India. Some world building individuals, two things. The Doctor again scans Amy using the TARDIS console regarding her possible pregnancy. And the second thing in individuals is that Avery used the North Star to navigate his ship. Two things about technology. The Doctor tries to use the sonic screwdriver to open wooden doors and barrels multiple times. And second thing is that Avery compares the TARDIS atom accelerator to the wheel on his vessel, the Fancy, his ship. Those are world building influences in three things. Is that Steve Thompson was inspired by a popular Cornish legend about the mermaid of Zenor, which apparently dated from the 15th century. The story concerned a mermaid with a beautiful singing voice who tempted a human man to come life with her in the sea. It's associated with an ancient chair bearing a carving of a mermaid, which can still be found at St. Cenara's Church in Zenor. Second thing, in influence is that the episode was made in light of the success of Pirates of the Caribbean. Funnily enough, the fourth film, Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, came out the same year. And the third thing is that the black spot being a pirate's death sentence comes from Treasure Islands. It's with Long John Silver. Highly recommendable to watch that. And actually, reading, because it's book, Treasure Islands, and also series and films about multiple films of series about made by the Treasure Island. Also animations, by the way. It's a book. Okay. Some story notes. This episode was supposed to air in the autumn half of the series, but was recorded along with TV story The Doctor's Wife, being fourth instead of third, and Mark Geddes episode being ninth instead of fourth. This was because Steve Moffat felt Geddes' pet episode was too dark. The second story now is that this episode's original title was Siren. It was the ninth episode of Series 6. In the first draft, the story was set on the dry land Cornwall in case the show couldn't get a boat, referencing the Brilliant Book 2012. A third thing is that writer Steve Thompson was unaware of Avery's mention in the Smugglers. He simply looked through his son's book about pirates and picked Avery because of his mysterious disappearance. So it was a coincidence that Avery was used again, also in Brilliant Book 2012. A fourth thing is that uh, the DVD commentary for the later episode, A Good Man Goes to War, indicates that the decision to reorder the episode was made before production ended on Black Spot. As according to the commentary, the brief sequence featuring Avery and Toby that appears in the mid-season finale was shot during production of this episode. And other thing is that a prequel for this story was released online. And actually, I have the prequel of this story on DVD. Another thing is that Lily Cole is credited as the siren on screen and as the sea siren in the radio times. Another interesting thing is that this episode is notable both in that none of the guest cast die, and there is no villain of the piece, excluding Minnesota's comic relief specials, etc. The only other episode of the revived series to have both these feats is Hyde and Twice Upon a Time with the 12th Doctor Capaldi, which, like the Curse of the Black Spot, had a supposed villain turn out to be a harmless misunderstanding. Another thing is that, as with this story, Earthborn diseases were the bane of the aliens in the War of the Worlds. Next thing is that the unique incidental music for the story, Deadly Siren, is reused thrice at this episode. The adventurous swashbuckling themed section of the track plays when Captain Avery and his son make a brief cameo in A Good Man Goes to War. And the part of the track where the siren vocally sings is played during WC, the making of the gunslinger, as well in the TV story The Night of the Doctor. Another thing is that the exterior of the pirate ship was filmed at the dock in Cornwall, while the lower decks were built from a set at the studio. And the principal challenge to film at the dock was to ensure the audience would not see it. The crew set up smoke machines to stimulate fog. As to quit the storm, the crew used wind and rain machines, the latter of which went through 15,000 liters of water. That much water. The episode was also made to allow the Doctor and his companions to kick back and have some fun. Another thing is that anticipating they would get soaked, the cast present on the deck wore dry suits underneath their clothes. Another thing is that a significant continuity error was introduced in editing when the removal of scenes involving the boatswain. It was Mineko to the ship's bulkhead after being wounded, where he spitefully revealed the truth about Captain Avery's pirate ways to Toby. The boatswain later used a sword to break the rusty chains which bound him, but in doing so, he created a reflective surface through which he was snared by the siren. However, this material was removed in editing, which meant that the characters abruptly vanished from the narrative, only to reappear as a patient on the spaceship at the end of the story. Another thing, the sickbay set was built in a studio. Because the beds were attached to strings, they were prone to swaying. Another thing that Lee Ross had previously starred in the Stephen Moffat series Press Gang. Other thing is the cast members who were asked to lie on the beds were instructed to stay still, not breathe heavily to limit movement. Quite a challenge. Karen Gillan was allowed to perform several of her own stunts in the episode, and she was excited to learn that her character would fight pirates with swords and was taught how to handle one with basic moves. She was also allowed to swing across the ship. However, a stunt double was required to film the sequence where Amy is thrown because the deck by the siren. Uh, Another thing that one late deletion from the script was the idea that the siren would appear to Toby Avery as a young girl. This would have given the Doctor a clue as to entity's true nature. Next, the scenes in which Lily Cole appeared on the ship were done by using a harness as she was flying. Because she wore green dress and makeup, the more normal green screen was replaced by blue screens in the studio. Cole felt it was fun to fly on the harness, but found it painful after a few hours. Yeah, it goes with sacrifices. Before filming began on the storm sequences, Arthur Darvill heard that he would perform the stunt where he is thrown into the sea and was waiting to perform it. The stunt would later be performed by a double. Uh, in 2019, it was rumored that Karen Gillan would replace Johnny Depp in a reboot of Pirates of the Caribbean. Uh-oh. Other things that Steve Thompson was working with Steve Moffat on Sherlock and expressed interest in writing for the series. Next thing is that Matt Smith and Karen Gillan felt that working with Hugh Bonneville was great fun. Hugh Bonneville is the Captain Avery in the story. For the siren, the producers were looking for an actress who is beautiful, striking, and yet somewhat spooky. Lily Cole came early into the casting suggestion and accepted the role when she was approached. Thinking about the producers. Producers wished to develop an episode set on the high seas. It was also made to allow the Doctor and his companions to kick back and have some fun. Another thing is that as this episode was pirate themed, the producers wanted to fit in as many elements as possible from pirate fiction, including treasure, mutinies, a stowaway boy walking the plank, storm swords, and a pirate with a good heart who isn't really evil. So it's really done. By the way, I like pirate movies and series. Another thing, Steve Thompson initially took a budget-conscious approach with the action set around the Cornish coast. In his version, Captain Avery was searching for his missing wife, who had been kidnapped by the siren. The doctor eventually helped track the creature to a mine where it was killed. When it was realized that there were sufficient funds available to set much of the story at sea, the Cornish setting was dropped in favor of the fantasy. Thompson now introduced a militia which boarded the ship, only for its corrupt lieutenant to force the crew to help him seek buried treasure on a nearby island. These creatures were omitted when it was found that they overcomplicated the storyline. It was only at this stage that the siren became a medical interface, while early drafts also positioned Amy as her target rather than Rory. Another thing is that the episode comprised Book 5 of Season 6, officially labeled Block 4B. About McDan Kovorian's cameo was the first scene shot for the episode. Another thing is that to avoid giving the impression that he was a pastiche, care was taken to ensure that Hugh Bonneville would not resemble Captain Jack Sparrow. Another thing is that Lily Cole's performance was filmed against blue screen across 2 days. The real Henry Avery's fate was unknown, by the way. This appealed to Steve Thompson as it gave him carte blanche to tell the rest of his story. And then last story notes that the 11th Doctor was originally going to wear a pirate's outfit. So, and then we go to continuity because in the universe, the stories and episodes are to some extent related to each other, linked to each other, reference to each other, and influence to each other. And every time I rewatch episode stories, I discover new things, and there are also it's an interpretation of the fan. But I have discovered some continuity, and that is following. Amy references the Doctor's death that she, Rory, and River witnessed in the TV story Impossible Astronaut. Second, the eye patch lady appears to Amy for the second time. He first appeared in TV story Day of the Moon. Third thing is that the marking of the hands is akin to the green mark individuals experience from mutating into a primort. A TV story uh, Inferno. That's the third Doctor John Pertwee. A fourth thing is that prior to this occasion, TARDIS has landed in the hold of another sailing vessel, the Shadow, in a TV story Enlightenment with I think it was the fifth Doctor. Yeah, with Fifth Doctor, Peter Davison, and Tegan and Turlough. Fifth thing is that Captain Avery was previously mentioned in TV story The Miss Smugglers with Third Doctor, William Hartnell. Um, a sixth thing is that the TARDIS again seems confused as to whether Amy Pond is pregnant or not, to link to TV story Day of the Moon. Seventh thing is that the Doctor was previously forced to walk the plank in TV story The Pirate Planets. And that was with, yes, the fourth Doctor, Tom Baker and K9 Mark II and Romana the Thirst. And last thing, the eighth thing in continuity is that the idea that two objects can inhabit the same location but not have direct travel between them happens during the fourth Doctor's quest on the key to time, where a judicial spaceship containing Caesars of Diplos ran aground on top of the Nine Travelers in Cornwall. The stones were in N space, but the ship was located in hyperspace. So, with traveling being available via use of the Great Seal of Diplos, or a machine made by the Doctor and K9 in the TV story The Stones of Blood. And that is also with the fourth Doctor, Tom Baker, with K9 Mark II and Romana Thirst. And also featuring the White Guardian. So, and that, my friends and companions, are all I have to say about this story. I don't do some commercial, and then it's good. So, there again, sci-fi fantasy fans and all sort of fans meet on this channel for fun chats about their beloved books, movies, and series and franchises. We also talk about food and drinks, music and sport, and a special place on this channel for Doctor Who. And this channel is all about fun, laughter, jokes, and making friends and talk about the things we are interested in. Random, because we discuss everything that involves entertainment, including movies and series, books and music. Random, also, because we will broadcast non-fixed times, actually many different times. You need to subscribe to this channel to know what time the broadcast is. Random, also because we have no guests or different guests. It depends on join me in a live stream or panel. If you want to join me in a live stream, feel free to contact me via Discord server, Random Entertainment channel. Tech Doctor Who on Discord, you find me very quick because I bumped the server quickly. And you can also contact me via YouTube. You can put a comment on one of the video of this channel and we will look what is possible. And also it's possible to invite me for your channel. I'm available for to contribute on your channel and talk about the things you're interested in. Feel free to invite me for that. I'm available for that. I want to make friends and I want to talk and want to also share things you're interested in, we are passionate for, enthusiastic about. Yes, so I'm available for that. The YouTube channel has many playlists, by the way. Different stories about different doctors, playlists about the personality of the doctor, about companions. So you can look for that on my channel, different playlists. And actually, in mine, this channel is a sort of encyclopedia. Yeah. So the Discord server is called Random Entertainment Channel Tech Doctor Who on Discord. So cheers, mate. Have lots of fun. This is your host, Enigmatic Joker. So I'm looking forward to meet you See you next time. Have a nice day. Bye bye, everyone. Bye bye.